think about how the business owner thinks. Let's say I'm like a plumber. Maybe you're not thrilled to be a plumber, but they certainly are either thrilled or at least have the skill set to be a plumber. And what do they want? They just want to show up in the morning and say, all right, who's on my calendar who wants what I know how to do? That's what they're looking for. And if you can give them that, they're going to be ecstatic to keep you as an agency for life. So that's really what we solve for to begin with.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
Tell us about you and how you started a software company, which is
good question. Well, this is my second software company. So the first one was in the small business invoicing space, which was interesting. And I just met a lot of businesses and helped them basically collect money that was past due. And when I asked them, sort of like, well, what else do you need? They all sort of universally said the same thing. They said, we want more customers. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm a software engineer. I bet I could write some code to do that. And so my co-founder and I, we sort of set out and created sort of version 1.0, and we started selling it to all of the same customers I already had from my previous software company. And they loved the demo, and then they would buy the software, and then they would cancel it 2 weeks later. And I don't take that sort of thing lightly. I'd sort of take it personally. And so I'd sort of get on the phone and I'd say what's wrong with you? You said it was great. And invariably they would all say the same thing. They would sort of say, well, it is great, except we are busy being plumbers, lawyers, doctors, dentists, and we don't have time to figure this out, even though we know it's important. Which to a guy like me is just nuts, because I'm like, it just sounds like craziness, right? But we need it, but we can't. It's like, okay, now what? And lucky for me, we had a customer at the time who was working with a marketing agency. And that marketing agency contacted me and said, hey, I'd love to take a look at what you're doing for our customers to understand, that kind of thing. So we got on a phone call with them, and I can still distinctly remember saying, why am I getting on the phone with this person? Why am I wasting my time? They're not even my customer. And it was actually just so fortuitous, because this person not only saw the value in what we were doing, but it turns out that what I didn't realize this whole time is that marketing agencies are really these sort of unsung heroes of small business and medium business, right? They are the people who the really successful business owners are fundamentally using to create that success, but they don't really name them. They don't put them on their website or anything, right? Our success brought to you by Jill's marketing agency. They sort of just pretend like they did it all. And so by talking to this agency owner at the time, he opened my eyes to that. Not only that, he purchased the product for 80 of his clients. 2 weeks went by and he was still there and he was still happy. And he was giving us all kinds of great information about how to make the product better. And so very quickly from there, we went to our first agency mastermind, sold the product to about 40 agencies. And then really from there, just stopped selling to businesses entirely, focused only on agencies because we knew they were the right market to serve and the right way to get small businesses success at the end of the day. And then fast forward to today, and we made that marketing agency owner our third co-founder, and we're serving about 15,000 agencies and 400,000 SMBs through the platform today.
Wow. That's so amazing. And we're also, of course, just in the agency space, so can appreciate all those pain points of growing an agency. What you guys solve, and we'll get into it, is just how there's so much noise in the tech side of running an agency. And if we wrote down every kind of tool that we pay for on a monthly basis, the list is this long. And so speaking of which, what kind of tools and systems does GoHighLevel use?
So we sort of started off life thinking, our mission is just to serve the agency, right? So we're going to say, all right, what are all the tools you use? I build funnels and I have emails and I want to send text messages and I want to build campaigns and We're just going to take all these tools and put them together in one platform, right? So we really literally did that. So you name a tool, we probably have a replacement for it in our platform, all in one spot. It all talks to itself, all of those wonderful things. But what we realized in that journey is the big challenge is certainly that, but the bigger challenge is, wait, how do we keep our clients happy, right? How do we keep our clients from churning and quitting? And if we really look at why it is that clients churn out, it's often because of things like, the agency goes out and generates a bunch of really great leads, but then the client doesn't follow up with the leads. And, at the end of the month, you sort of like the agency, like I've seen this so many times, it's so sad. Like a happy puppy, like goes running up to the client, like, look at all these great leads I generated for you. And the agent, and the customer looks back and says, like, what are you talking about? We didn't get any customers out of this. And they'd be like, wait, but didn't you call this person who said they wanted to give you money? They're like, oh, no, we didn't call the lead. And the agency's like, what the heck? And then what's worse is the business owner's like, I just don't have time. You're fired. Like, we'll get back to this, right? And so to solve for that, the very first thing we actually came to the market to do is automate the lead nurture process so that when leads come in, the business owners don't actually have to do the follow-up. So we automatically text out to those leads or email out to those leads and get them to automatically book on a calendar. Because really what we found is the big missing link is the lead generation isn't the problem. The service delivery from the business isn't the problem. It's that middle step, which we think of it as lead nurturing, where you're really trying to make sure you're getting to that lead within the first 5 minutes, getting to book on a calendar. And if they don't, just automatically following up with them as long as it takes in order to get them to book on a calendar, right? Because that's what 99% of businesses end in. It's an appointment. It's I'm coming to see you, you're coming to see me, or we're jumping in on a call like this in the middle. And that, if we can solve for that one issue right there, the churn will go down tremendously. And so fast forward 4 years of doing that, and it's been a smashing success, because now as an agency, it's no longer look at how many leads I generated on a spreadsheet. It's look at how many calendar bookings I put on your, on your calendar. And at that point, it's like, if you didn't close the deal, that's on you, buddy, because you're a terrible whatever it is that you do, and I shouldn't even have you as my client. Or more likely, everyone's super pumped because now, if you really think about it, I think this is the hard thing for agencies. Think about how the business owner thinks. Like, let's say I'm like a plumber. Like, maybe you're not thrilled to be a plumber, but they certainly are either thrilled or at least have the skill set to be a plumber. And what do they want? They just want to show up in the morning and say, all right, who's on my calendar who wants what I know how to do? That's what they're looking for. And if you can give them that, they're going to be ecstatic to keep you as an agency for life. So that's really what we solve for to begin with.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that most of your agency's clients are in the lead gen space, or do you see many like in e-commerce? Like tell us a little bit
across the board, right? Okay. Because every single business, though, it's very simple. I mean, people like to make a lot of complexity out of it, but at the end of the day, people want more sales, right? E-commerce businesses want to sell more stuff. It's like we have our Shopify integration, so you can automate all of the Shopify follow-ups stuff that you need to do as an agency. And we also have a lot of local businesses. I mean, fundamentally, I don't care if you do SEO or PPC or web design. At the end of the day, as an agency, if you don't think in the mindset of I'm here to deliver more customers, you're doing something wrong, because that's what your customer wants. I'm sure some people really appreciate great website design, but I honestly think most people could care less if it doesn't fundamentally deliver the goods in terms of new customers. And so for us, it's always a focus on whether you're in the lead gen space officially or not. You are in the lead gen space, whether you know it or not. Mm-hmm. And we want to give you a tool where you can show your customer that amazing website design that is very conversion centric is resulting in something that they're actually looking for, because we know that's how we're going to keep that client long term.
I think this is so relevant. And just even me talking to client account managers every day and knowing that piece of like, the leads are really good, we're doing our job and they're doing their job, but it's kind of that in between that is gray, and solving that is a massive problem that we see regularly. So that's awesome. We also see tons of people using GoHighLevel, which is double awesome. But I think it'd be really cool to kind of even here today go through that process a little bit and kind of see what people can expect when you
do it. Okay.
Yes, Katie and I might say this is great for agencies, but we're also like, could we use this? Could so-and-so use this? Could my
absolutely. And in fact, we'll get into this in a minute, because there's a whole other concept here that we discovered. And when I say discovered, by the way, what I really mean is I totally stole and ripped off from our best agency customers who showed me the better answer. So we'll talk about that, because there's this other revenue stream that agencies are almost exclusively missing out on left and right, that they could be adding in that's super profitable and super sticky. We talk about that in a second, but let's look at kind of like a day in the life of kind of a high-level agency, right? So in this case, we've got Law Hustle, they're the agency. Now, first thing I want you to notice here is we're all white label, because one of the biggest things that we want to avoid as a software platform is we don't want the client to think, oh, you know what? It's not the agency doing the work, it's this magic software thing, right? That's nonsense. We don't believe that at all. And we're 100% white label. So Law Hustle presents like this to their clients. Your Law Hustle client, they serve attorneys, as you might imagine. This is the login screen that their attorneys see. This is the mobile app on the iPhone, and we have Android, of course, that their clients actually use. So at no point are they seeing the high-level brand, because we want that lawyer to really think hard about Law Hustle is delivering the value, not high levels delivering the value, right? So right away from the very get-go, again, we're about delivering results. So it's, hey, we're, as an agency, we created 436 opportunities for you worth $864,000. You're closing 6.6%. So that's $58,000 we just made you. You're welcome, right? Like, we could just stop the conversation right there. You're paying us less than 58 grand this month. We're doing well. Now, if you want to keep going, awesome. And so we can kind of dive down the funnel. We can look at where are the leads coming in? Where are they dropping off? How can we optimize those things? Really get into a lot of that as a discussion point, but just trying to show value immediately to the client. That's what we're all about right out of the gate, right? But one way or another, what we're also doing here is we're trying to take those leads, like we talked about, and turn them into booked appointments. Because as a lawyer, I just want to show up and have people say, yep, this is a workers' compensation law firm. I got run over by a forklift yesterday at work. I need someone to sue my employer for me. That's what I know how to do. I just want someone on my calendar who shows up to do that, right? And so really what we're talking about here, and I'll give you a great example, is when a lead comes in, what we want to do is actually just start to proactively talk to those leads right away. And so in this case, what we're going to do is set up a sequence of outreach. So in this case, this is all customizable, of course, but they're sending an SMS, they're sending an email, they're doing a force dial. Now, those are people who want their clients to call. This is like magic. So imagine, instead of asking your client to call a lead, the phone just rings. Your client's phone rings and they pick it up.
Wow.
And it says, hi, you have a new lead from Facebook named Bob Smith. Press any key to connect. It's like, uh-oh, now what, right? They hit the key. We know that person's there. It dials out to the lead. If the lead picks up, boom, we join the call together. We've now forced our client onto the phone immediately, which is what we all want them to do. And if they're not there or they don't pick up, of course, the automation will continue through. I will say the SMS is way more powerful than the calls, but the calls have this beautiful ability to remind the client that, hey, listen, we're delivering value, right? That phone call is ringing and that's us doing it. So at any point in the sequence, of course, if the client responds, so like picks up the phone, texts back, emails back, right? We're going to stop the sequence because we don't want to continue to bother them. But what's happening is we're asking them pretty much a very simple question almost always. Are you available? Do you have time for a free consultation in the next few days? And what happens is if they respond back with something that's positive, sure, absolutely, that'd be great. We use AI and machine learning to know that that's essentially a yes. And then we say, great, here's a link to our calendar, grab a time that works for you, because we have full integrations with Google Calendar and Outlook Calendar and all of that. So now we've replaced our Calendly or whatever it is that we're working with. And now we're putting booked appointments on the actual lawyer's calendar. And now we do appointment reminders and all that wonderful stuff. But the point is that we've given the lawyer what they wanted, right? That person that is there, booked, ready to go, ready to hear from them, ready to get advice from them, just out of the gate.
This is very cool. I've never seen kind of the back end, so this is great.
Oh yeah. And honestly, quite frankly, this is all just scratching the surface. This is the most fun part, because for me, this is like how you create value for your clients, right? But you know, this is now their one-stop shop for all their communication though. So here's their, we're two-way text messaging. We've got emails, phone calls, voicemails, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, Google Business Messaging, which if you don't know about Google Business Messaging, you got to go check that out. It's amazing. You can actually text people from Google right from their GMB or whatever it is they call it, profiles. All of that communication flows into this one spot. And now you can do all of that work right here. And so like, these are literally both automated and manual conversations that this law firm's having with their clients. We have full opportunity pipeline tracking, so you can actually track people across sales pipelines like a Trello or that kind of thing. All of this is customizable. We have just a gajillion features of full, that's funny. I forgot they have their own password protection system for their clients so that they can't get into the workflow automations. But we have a full automation builder, just like a HubSpot or an ActiveCampaign would have, email marketing tools, that kind of thing, you name it. So full automation workflow builder, so you can come in and say, basically trigger off all kinds of events happening out in the world. So appointments, inbound calls, birthdays, any kind of thing you want to trigger off of, and then building customer journeys here. So being able to send out communications, do CRM tasks, all that good stuff. Full email builder, You can come in full MailChimp style, drag and drop, email builder, on and on and on and on the feature set goes. Again, the mission here, of course, is how do we replace every tool the agency's using any given day, and at the same time show a lot of value to the client simultaneously.
So effectively, you can do it all and go high level. You can go from 0 to hero all on a one-stop shop.
That's absolutely the idea. I mean, you could come in here and we have a full funnel builder. We have a lot of people who build funnels for their clients, right, to lead capture. So it's a custom domains are supported, all those wonderful things. We actually literally just launched this, as you can see, is a very, very exciting, complex funnel. But for the record, we do actually, our entire homepage is built on our own funnel builder as well, our account here. We have a full membership builder, so like a Kajabi replacement, drag and drop form builder, chat widget for client websites so that they can chat with their customers and collect all kinds of leads off their website, reputation management stuff. We just launched invoicing and payments. So you can actually invoice your clients, collect payments, and they can invoice their customers as well. Oh yeah, we didn't connect Stripe on that one, but that's okay. So yeah, on and on and on and on it goes. As you can see, the feature set is quite exhaustive.
Okay, let me ask you. So I have a list here of the things that we have on a monthly basis. And let's see what ones can be replaced.
Fire away.
Okay. Calendly, I think you already covered that.
Done. Easy.
Is there anything that it can't do? So for example, Katie and I both need our availability for this podcast to link up with one specific link.
Yep. That we call those team calendars. So you've got 2 different people. So you can either pool the availability, you can round robin through it, like you name it.
Okay. Scheduling social media.
Oh, social media posting goes live Monday. So
Monday.
It's already, yeah. So it's, oh man, let me see if I can
see a demo.
Let me move on the fly here. I love it. You guys are throwing curveballs. Hold on. I'm going to get there. Lucky for me, I have a sensational product manager on this particular project. So you'll be able to come in here, connect your accounts. Yeah, there we go. So so the idea here is basically like a full replacement for, you name it, social media posting software.
Later. Can you do Instagram?
Instagram goes live end of this month. So yeah, multiple social accounts, multiple posts, like you name it. This is technically, I believe, the dev environment. So I better be cautious on how deep I go. But yeah, it's got kind of all the sort of posting stuff you'd be used to. You go in, you say, oh, okay, I want to post to this Facebook account, this Google My Business account, this Facebook group. And now as you start to type your, clearly I'm not going to be a very good social poster, but start to post your stuff. We have a built-in media library, so you can come in and choose the items you want to put in. It does cool stuff like checks like, hey, Google won't let you go over 10 KB, so pick a different image, that kind of thing. There we go. And then you can, of course, post directly, or you can schedule the post for later. And then there is also the calendar view. So if you're working with clients, have them come in here and take a look. And then if you, really cool stuff like good detail work, like, oh, you know what, actually, I don't want to post that today. Well, you can slide it over and you can actually post it in the future. You can move it over technically.
That's amazing. That's so cool. I'm just going to put a pin in my question, but can clients have like their own portal so that they can come in and pre-approve stuff?
This is the client portal.
This is the client portal.
Everything you're seeing here, so the way we envision stuff is, think about high level as being like a place where it's multi-tenant by design. So if we go back here and look at, there's an agency view and a client view. So as an agency, you have all these different clients that you're managing, and you have all this configuration and stuff that you can do. And then fundamentally, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually drop into a location. And that location, you can think about it like this. All the tools that serve the client are here. Some of those tools are going to be agency only, like stuff you don't want clients touching, right? Like just now when I click the workflows in the Visionary Law Group account, I got the password pop up because they're like, no, we don't want clients touching workflows, right? And so what you do is you actually have your clients log in here. You create client logins and then you give them permission. So the left menu actually will change based upon the permissions you give them. So the idea is I might come in here and you may say, Shaun, I don't trust you, man. You can't do anything. I'm just going to let you like stick to conversations or just look at the dashboard maybe, but I'm not letting you touch email campaigns or anything else. I'll just do that for you. You're cohabitating here with your client, and you're giving them access to the tools you want to give them access to, and keeping away tools that you don't think that it's appropriate for them to use. So this really is your client portal when it comes to having clients come in and do stuff and and interact.
Meanwhile, sort of both buckets are under one roof, which is
Precisely.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes. But what we're really trying to clue people in on is this whole other thing that agencies are missing out on. And I really think this is the revolution in the agency space. And so think about traditional agency situations. So you go in as an agency, you're about to sort of do your services, but oftentimes you need a tool, right? So you would say, oh, we're going to do an email campaign for you. What are you currently using? Oh, nothing. Oh, great. Well, go sign up for XYZ software company, right? And what you do just off the cuff without even thinking about it is you give away revenue to a third party who owes you nothing. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, what you open yourself up to, and I think most agencies have been around long enough to have experienced this, is eventually someone might come back and say, oh, you know what? Thanks for that email campaign. That was fantastic. We're going to go ahead and pause your services, but we're going to, of course, keep that software that you recommended. Thanks a lot for that recommendation. And what happened? You just lost all your money, and that software company owes you nothing. They just keep a customer for life. What if we could combine these two things together and we could say, well, wait, why not allow the agency to also be a software company in their own right and be able to sell software on a recurring monthly basis, just like these other big software companies can, and monetize off of that so that later on, maybe you still lose them on the service, but you keep them on the software. And all of a sudden you have hundreds of dollars a month per customer coming in for all the clients you ever lost. And I think most people have asked the question, how many clients have you lost in the last 5 years, right? I mean, they're like, oh my gosh, the list is huge. And now we say, well, what if those people were paying you $100 a month, $200 a month, every month to just use the software? The amount of revenue would be tremendous, right? And so that's exactly what we allow you to do. So in HighLevel, you can actually come in and we have what's called SaaS mode, and you're able to literally create predefined software packages and sell them and charge them on a monthly basis to your clients on a white label basis. So you're now replacing all of those apps that we just talked about, not only for yourself, but also for your clients.
You guys are making this really easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
literally,
that's
that was
goal.
my next question. How do you charge? Well, it's right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you automated all of it. And then there's also the upsell of all of the consumables, right? So your clients are sending texts or sending emails. You're able to actually upcharge, because all of these things cost money, right? But you can actually upcharge on every text that your client sends. You can make revenue off of that as well.
And Shaun, apologies if this is a silly question. No questions are
I
silly.
love silly questions. I ask them all the time, so I can't really be offended when someone asks me.
But this would be customizable, right? Is there some sort of consultation somebody would have, or an overview or something, kind of when you're getting into it? Of course, this is a lot. Like, are you working with your team, or is an agency working with your team to get it perfect for them?
Oh, absolutely. So we have all kinds of stuff. We call it the tools play, right? So we start off the whole, hey, what do you currently use today? Let's replace that first. And that's day one, right? So what are we doing? We're saving you money. We're reducing your client churn. We're getting you to that place. And once you're comfortable there, you're using the tools every day. Then we teach you, okay, here's how you could sell this to your client. And we have recommended packages, recommended pricing. We have all kinds of sales pitches, sales materials, and everything else, all here that you can sort of literally walk out to your client and say, here's what we're providing, right? But it's amazing how simple this stuff is, because there are companies, for example, that, let's take the web chat widget that I was just talking about in brief. Let me show you what that looks like. And if there are people who simply have this one feature and have created businesses that are hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And if we look, it's literally just, hey, look, I'm going to put this little widget on your website. We're going to make it so that when somebody comes to your website, it pops up and it says, hey, how can we help? And then what are you doing? You're turning it into an SMS conversation and you're capturing a lead for them. How many of those leads have to turn into customers to create hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars of value for your client every month?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Do clients ever miss phone calls? Do you ever call a small business and they don't pick up?
Yep.
All the time, right? What if when I called the business, it actually texted me back if the client doesn't pick up and it says, hey, sorry, we're on the other line with a customer. Do you need to book an appointment? And you got that on your cell phone and you were like, holy cow, yeah, I'd love to book an appointment. And it said, okay, great. Here's a link to our calendar. Grab a time that works for you. I mean, how hard would that be to create a ton of value for your client? Well, those are all the types of features you could implement that are very simple in nature, but create a tremendous amount of value on the other side.
There's a GoHighLevel support team that, like, somebody's been,
we have two teams, customer success, which is, hey, welcome to HighLevel. You're just getting started. This is your first 90 days. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to get on live Zoom calls with you. We're going to help you set these things up, get you going. And then after 90 days, then you roll to support, because it's more like, yeah, I've got it set up, but now I have really specific questions. And then the other thing we have is a massively cool YouTube channel where we not only bring in all of our folks that talk about this stuff, but we have a ton of people from the industry who are doing this. And in fact, quick note, our 2 largest customers this year, one will do $10 million in revenue off software alone, and the next down will do 6 million. So there are some huge, huge success stories here that we're already seeing.
Wow, that's
my
so
goodness.
just from using GoHighLevel software and selling it as a service.
Yes, and that's in addition.
Shaun-
By the way, they still provide services. They're still agencies, but they're also adding on the software. And we've all been there where we see customers say, you know, I love you, you're amazing, but I just can't afford it this month or this quarter, this year, or I want to do something different, blah, 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 blah. You know what? We're never going to stop that completely. So why not give them an alternative so that we stay in the circle of trust, right? And we don't lose a customer, and we keep revenue, and we keep the door open so that 3 months later, when they realize that actually we were killing it for them and they made a big mistake, now they don't have to admit failure and come back and say, I was wrong. You were right. I want to hire you back. They could just say, you know what? Can we add back the services? Very simple to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so smart. Love it. So other things I want to know if we can replace.
Yes. Fire away.
Typeform.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry, right here, membership builder and surveys, by the way. So surveys and forms. Yes. What's the difference between a survey and form, you would ask? Surveys are simply forms with conditional logic, like a type form. So if they say, we have like, I see people in the mortgage industry and stuff. It's like, hey, if you had a form like, hey, want a home loan, fill out the form. Everyone fills out the form, right? But they need a survey, right? Is your credit score above 700 or whatever the thing is? No, it's not. Okay, well, let's talk about credit repair. Let's not talk about mortgages. But, oh, it's above 700, great. So yes, we could absolutely do that.
Cool. You have all the logic in there, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
We
Totally.
use that so much. Yeah.
Full drag and drop builder, all that stuff. What do you got next?
Zapier.
Well, it's funny you should say that, right? So then the question, do we have a Zap? Absolutely. But the next question, of course, is always just, what do you use Zapier for?
Yeah.
Right. What are you zapping to?
What are you zapping?
Exactly. What do we find? We find most of the time it's like, well, we are zapping from this, forms product to the CRM to this landing page builder. And then I'm like, well, wait, but what if they're all in the same app?
Yeah, because
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor's
Then you don't
thinking
need it
we
anymore.
send out a type form, it gets zapped to like an automation email. It's kind of this bucket or this bucket or this
Boom, boom,
bucket.
boom. Yes,
But
yes,
that's
yes.
all
And we replace
inside.
all of that. Now, the great news though is for those really weird, something very industry specific, totally, we have a Zap for that. No big deal. And as you transition, maybe you're not ready to let go of Typeform. You just love it so much. That's cool. Let's keep Typeform today. Use Zapier to plug it into HighLevel. So yes, we absolutely have a Zap in those cases.
Okay. Lead pages.
That's a funnel builder, right? We're just building a funnel.
Mhm.
Well,
Yep.
heck yes. Here's the HighLevel homepage right here. We got split testing the whole 9 yards. We're doing it right now.
Love
Here
it.
we go. So yeah, there's your drag and drop builder. No problem.
PandaDoc.
PandaDoc.
Contracts.
Not
and
yet.
agreements.
Not yet. We'll get there. We can already collect signatures on forms. So just to be fair, I could say yes, you can absolutely add a signature block to forms and collect signatures, and you can create agreements. We have people who do that. But the whole, there's a really nice flow in PandaDoc that I like, but we'll have that later on this year.
So if you're
I'll do it
just send,
myself.
like for us, we only send an agreement.
Yeah,
With the
so if it's
signature.
simple, yeah. So if it's simple, that's so easy to do. You could come in here, and in fact, we actually have over on the right-hand side here, so you can create a custom field, and you can add all types of custom fields that we have. So for example, let's just say I want to add a custom field. As you can see, we have
And
a
you
couple.
put the text right in there.
Yeah, so then
Lovely.
we have a signature type. So then that signature box goes in, and then we record all of that. And so we have people who have created really nice looking agreements out of all of this. And then the other thing is you can automate it as part of your workflow. In fact, so imagine you have a stage in here called ready to go or agreed to or whatever, and you drag them across. Remember, workflows and automations, you fire off that agreement form to me automatically based on my movement, right? And so you can walk people down the funnel very, very, very easily. And the opposite, like here, I've registered, maybe I've attended my first webinar, but I haven't attended my second. After 7 days or whatever you choose, you can start hitting me up like, hey, Shaun, why didn't you go to the second webinar, man? Come on, get on it, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, this is so cool. The last one, can you sync in Stripe? So for example, we use Stripe for payments.
Us
Could you have
too.
like
That's crazy. Imagine
agreement?
that. I love that.
Imagine.
Heck yes, it does. When you connect your Stripe account, it'll pull down all the products automatically from your Stripe account and list them inside here. So you can see right here, it says import from Stripe. You can see that right there. And then vice versa in the future, as you create new products, it'll actually automatically create them in your Stripe and PayPal, depending, you could use both or either one. And you can also create different prices for different products. So like, I'm going to sell a widget here. Maybe I'm going to sell a widget at $100 one time. I could also be selling the same widget for $10 a month, right? And so all of a sudden, I've got all of my products in here. We also keep track of all the transactions that happen, all the orders that happen relative to funnels, relative to calendars, because we also have the ability to, like, some people will say, well, you can book an appointment with me, but I'm going to charge you $50 as a fee or something, right? Before you can book. So that's there. Invoicing is here, all of that wonderful stuff. So you can, yes, absolutely do all of those things and keep track of it here and go back and forth, vice versa.
So it seems like you can do everything.
Almost. There's a couple things.
Almost everything.
Social media posting's not out till next week.
It'll be out by the time
You have to wait 4 days.
Yeah. Our WordPress offering will not go live. It's in private beta. It won't go live until the end of this quarter.
Coming soon.
Yeah, it's in private beta right now. It's going great, but we just want to make sure it's bulletproof before I let it out.
So who is usually living inside GoHighLevel? Like, who is in charge? Is it the, like, maybe agency owner specifically? Is it ops people? Is it sales teams? Maybe everybody's in there together?
I mean, the reality is it's both, because I told you out of the gate, I'm a software engineer. I'm addicted to features. I have a problem. I know it. I admit it. But, in here, we have a full phone system, so you can dial out. So you can actually do inbound and outbound calling through the system. So we have a lot of sales teams that will use this, but it's also ops people who are trying to move people through different processes. It's marketing people. Imagine that coming in here. But like, I can see this person, for example, all the way through from the very beginning of when they first came to us, where did they come from, right? And you can see all the activity tracking, and then they submitted a form. What was this form? It looks like they signed up for a welcome course, and I can see all the stuff that they submitted. And so I can track their entire journey with us as a company. I can see that they actually clicked on a paid search campaign because we have Google ads integration, Facebook ads integration. So we can see all of the ads stuff, and we can tie it back, and we can actually create ROI tracking all the way back to that event. So if he converts as a customer, I can create attribution back to the ad and say, not only did I get a click off the ad and a lead, which is great, but actually, did I get revenue off the ad? And if so, how much revenue? I can actually attribute the revenue back to the ad. So there's a lot of different people who live in this particular app.
But this was like amazing. We need a part 2. I feel like Taylor's already got the wheels turning. She's
canceling every subscription we've ever had.
Well, I will just leave you real quick before you leave. One thing I love, the only business that I ever sold to and is still with us as a customer today is this little HVAC company here in Eugene, where I live. And when I met this person, he was phenomenal, and he had 12 Google reviews. And I said, why in the world do you have 12 Google reviews? And he said, because I'm an HVAC guy. And I said, what if I could just get you more automatically? And he said, how much? I said, $300, and I haven't heard from the guy in 5 years. The last time I talked to him, as you can see, he went from 12 to 433. He has like 15 trucks in his lot. I don't think he's been on an HVAC job in 4 years. And if you just do these simple things for small businesses, you can really change their world.
Well, Shaun, this is amazing. And I think my wheels are spinning. I'm like canceling everything off my credit card. No, just kidding. But really, like, it makes you think differently, and makes you think, like, how can I do something better or more efficient and make my business run smoother? So,
well, I'm gonna try to just show you one last thing. So the one thing we had, so imagine as an agency, right? Let's say you're serving plumbers as an easy example. Well, let's say you've built out all these assets, right? Like landing pages and campaigns and email sequences and and you put in hours on this stuff, and you're like, and the next plumber comes along and you're like, oh my gosh, 80% of what I did for that other plumber can be used here. We have this idea called snapshots. So you can literally take a copy of that first plumber, and you can push all those assets down line into that second plumber, literally with the ability of just clicking a button and saying, hey, I want to take all these assets from this account and move them over to that account. And then you can link them all together. So someday, let's say you have 40 plumbers sitting in here. You can actually literally push all of that down to all 40 plumber accounts at once as you update and add things as you go forward.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I can see this working for so many agencies, right? Like it just gives you so many different options. It just makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Obviously.
that's the idea. We love agencies because we realize that fundamentally agencies are the unsung heroes of SMB success and even medium business success. I mean, fundamentally, if you want to make a small business successful, you're going to need to find a great agency because I think at the end of the day, it's about realizing and recognizing agencies as being really big experts in a super important, dynamic and changing and complex field called digital marketing. And I think it's something where they deserve a lot more credit than they get for the skill set they have. It's not the Yellow Page days, right? You don't just buy a Yellow Page ad and call it a day. There's so much more going on. And at this point, it's kind of like doing your own bookkeeping, right? You could do it, but you're just going to do a terrible job. You're going to get yourself in all kinds of trouble and you're going to get charged a bunch of fees and you're going to, it's all going to fall apart. So you might as well just admit defeat out of the gate, go get a competent accounting firm to help you. But I don't see any reason why the same thing doesn't apply for marketing. In fact, more so in my opinion, because you won't have any money to give the accounting firm and you won't have any receipts if you don't have great marketing, right?
Yep,
and that's what agencies are all about. So we support agencies because they help SMBs.
I love it. So good. So maybe we can give people a link to sign up for
absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I think the easiest place to go is just head over to gohighlevel.com/podcast. And you can check out, that's probably the easiest. I think we have some kind of crazy special offer or something. I have no idea, but definitely go to gohighlevel.com/podcast and you check us out, and 14-day free trial for anybody who signs up.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shaun, for coming on our podcast. I know so many agency owners need this support and this tool to use for not only their agency, but also for their clients. So I'm going to be checking it out in more detail, but
awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Cheers to happy clients.